The wind howled like a banshee, clawing at Alara's threadbare cloak as she stumbled through the skeletal remains of the whispering woods. Rotting branches, bleached white by centuries of neglect, reached out like accusing fingers. The air hung thick with the scent of damp earth and decay, a constant reminder of the Great Sundering, the cataclysmic war that shattered the world and left Alara, along with a handful of others, as its last witnesses. She was a shadow of her former self, a warrior stripped of her armor and her purpose, forever hunted by the Obsidian Guard, the iron-fisted enforcers of the tyrannical Emperor Vorlag, a source. Her legs screamed in protest, but she dared not stop. Vorlag's hounds were relentless, their guttural baying echoing through the barren landscape. He sought her for what she carried. The last shard of the Starstone, an artifact rumored to hold the key to unimaginable power. Power Vorlag craved to solidify his reign and plunge the world into eternal darkness. For weeks, she had navigated treacherous terrain, evading patrols and living off meager scraps. Hope was a flickering candle in the storm, threatening to extinguish with every gust of despair. She owed it to her fallen comrades, to the world they had fought to protect. Suddenly, through the swirling mists, a colossal silhouette emerged. It was a castle, impossibly vast, its towers piercing the bruised sky like obsidian daggers. But this was no ordinary fortress. It moved. Groaning gears and grinding stone echoed across the desolate landscape as the castle shifted its position, its foundations tearing through the earth. Alara had heard whispers of such a place. The wandering citadel, a mythical construct said to defy the laws of nature, a sanctuary for the lost and the hunted. With renewed vigor, she pushed forward, praying the rumors were true. The closer she got, the more surreal the scene became. Ivy, thick as pythons, snaked across the castle walls, pulsing with an unnatural light. Gargoyles, carved in grotesque and menacing shapes, seemed to watch her every move. As she reached the main gate, a massive iron portcullis creaked open, revealing a dimly lit courtyard. A voice, ancient and resonant, echoed from within. "Welcome, wanderer. Seek sanctuary, and you shall find it." Ilara hesitated for only a moment before stepping through the gate. The portcullis slammed shut behind her, plunging her into an eerie silence. The courtyard was a labyrinth of winding paths and crumbling statues. Strange symbols were etched into the stones, pulsing with the same unnatural light as the ivy. As she ventured deeper, she noticed other figures lurking in the shadows. Weary travelers, scarred warriors, and frightened refugees, all seeking refuge within the citadel's walls. They eyed her with suspicion. She wore simple robes, adorned with intricate embroidery that seemed to shift and change before Alara's eyes. "I am Lyra," she said, her voice soft but firm. "I am one of the keepers of this citadel. What is your name, and what brings you to our door?" "I am Alara," she replied, her voice hoarse from days of silence. "I seek refuge from Emperor Vorlag. He hunts me for the Starstone shard I carry." Lyra's eyes widened slightly. The Starstone, a dangerous burden. Indeed, Vorlag's reach is long, even within these walls. The citadel protects those who seek shelter, but it also tests them. Its rooms shift and change, its corridors twist and turn. It reveals secrets to those who are worthy and punishes those who are not. Lyra led Alara through a maze of corridors, the walls adorned with tapestries that depicted scenes of forgotten battles and ancient rituals. The air was thick with the scent of incense and dust. As they walked, Lyra explained the citadel's history. It was built by a forgotten race of sorcerers, beings of immense power who sought to create a sanctuary from the chaos of the world. "The citadel chooses who it protects," Lyra said. "It judges our hearts, our intentions. It will test you, Alara. Be prepared." Lyra led Alara to a small, sparsely furnished chamber. "This will be your quarters," she said. "Rest now. Tomorrow you will begin your trial." With that, Lyra departed, leaving Alara alone in the silence of the chamber. Exhaustion washed over Alara. She collapsed onto the rough-spun mattress, her mind racing. The citadel offered refuge, but it also demanded a price. What trials awaited her? What secrets would she have to uncover? And could she truly trust Lyra or any of the citadel's inhabitants? Sleep came slowly, filled with nightmares of Vorlag's hounds and the horrors of the Great Sundering. She dreamt of the Starstone, pulsing with a malevolent energy, whispering promises of power and destruction. When Ilara awoke, the chamber was different. The walls were now adorned with intricate carvings, depicting scenes of celestial events. The air was filled with a faint humming sound. She felt a sense of unease, as if she were being watched. As she stepped out of her chamber, she found herself in a vast library, filled with towering shelves that reached the ceiling. Ancient tomes, bound in leather and metal, lined the shelves, their titles written in forgotten languages. He looked up as Ilara approached, his eyes twinkling with intelligence. "Welcome, Ilara," he said, his voice raspy but kind. "I am Master Eldrin. The Citadel's librarian Lyra has informed me of your arrival and the burden you carry, the Starstone, a powerful artifact indeed. Perhaps these tomes can shed some light on its secrets." Ilara spent days in the library, poring over ancient texts, searching for clues about the Starstone and its power. Eldrin proved to be a valuable guide, helping her decipher the forgotten languages and navigate the labyrinthine knowledge contained within the books. But she also learned of its potential for destruction, its capacity to corrupt and consume those who wield it. One day, as Ilara was studying a particularly ancient tome, she stumbled upon a passage that described a hidden chamber within the Citadel, a chamber said to contain a powerful artifact that could counteract the Starstone's corrupting influence. The passage was cryptic and fragmented, but it offered a glimmer of hope. She shared her discovery with Eldrin, who confirmed the existence of the hidden chamber, but warned of the dangers that lay within. The path to the hidden chamber is fraught with peril. You will face trials that will test your courage, your wisdom, and your resolve. But if you are successful, you may find the key to defeating Vorlag and saving the world. Ilara knew what she had to do. She had to find the hidden chamber and claim the artifact within. She sought out Lyra and told her of her plan. Lyra listened intently, her expression unreadable. "The Citadel will guide you, Ilara," she said, "but it will also test you. Be prepared to face your deepest fears and your darkest desires." The passage was narrow and dark, the air thick with the scent of mildew and decay. As they walked, Lyra explained the trials that lay ahead. "The Citadel will present you with illusions, puzzles, and challenges," she said. "It will try to break you, to tempt you, to lead you astray. But you must remain true to yourself, to your purpose, and to your beliefs." The first trial was a maze of shifting corridors, where the walls moved and the floors disappeared beneath her feet. Ilara had to rely on her instincts and her knowledge of spatial awareness to navigate the labyrinth, avoiding traps and illusions that sought to disorient her. The second trial was a chamber filled with mirrors, each reflecting a different version of Ilara's past, present, and future. Some showed her moments of triumph and glory, others showed her failures and regrets. One mirror showed her a vision of Vorlag, his eyes burning with hatred, his voice whispering temptations of power and revenge. Ilara had to resist the allure of the illusions, to confront her inner demons and accept her past, both the good and the bad. The third trial was a riddle, posed by a spectral guardian, a being of pure energy that materialized before her. Ilara had to use her wit and her knowledge of ancient lore to decipher the riddle and provide the correct answer. She spent hours contemplating the riddle, drawing upon her knowledge of history, philosophy, and mythology. Finally, she realized that the answer lay not in the words themselves, but in the underlying concepts they represented. With each trial, Ilara grew stronger, both physically and mentally. She learned to trust her instincts, to rely on her knowledge, and to confront her fears. She discovered hidden strengths within herself, strengths she never knew she possessed. The chamber was circular, its walls lined with intricate carvings that depicted scenes of cosmic creation and destruction. In the center of the chamber stood a pedestal, upon which rested a single object, a crystal amulet pulsing with a gentle, ethereal light. As Ilara reached for the amulet, a figure emerged from the shadows. It was Lyra, her eyes glowing with an unnatural light. "You have proven yourself worthy, Ilara," she said, her voice cold and emotionless. "But the amulet is not for you, it is for me." She had trusted Lyra. She had believed in her. But now she realized that she had been betrayed. Lyra was not a keeper of the citadel, but a servant of Vorlog, sent to infiltrate the sanctuary and claim the amulet for him. "You lied to me," Lyra said, her voice trembling with anger. "You used me to find this chamber." "I did what was necessary," Lyra replied. "Vorlag will reward me handsomely for delivering the amulet to him, and you will be eliminated." Lyra lunged at Alara, her hands outstretched, ready to seize the amulet. She drew her sword, the steel gleaming in the ethereal light of the chamber. A fierce battle ensued, the two warriors clashing in a whirlwind of steel and magic. Lyra was a formidable opponent, her movements swift and precise, but Alara was fueled by rage and betrayal. She fought with a ferocity she never knew she possessed. Finally, after a long and grueling fight, Alara managed to disarm Lyra. She held her sword to Lyra's throat, her eyes burning with hatred. "Why, Lyra?" she asked. "Why did you betray me?" Lyra's face twisted in a mask of despair. "He threatened to kill them if I didn't comply. I had no choice." Alara hesitated. She could kill Lyra, avenge her betrayal. But she knew that Lyra was a victim, just like her. She lowered her sword, her anger slowly dissipating. "I understand," she said, "but you must help me stop Vorlog." Lyra nodded, her eyes filled with gratitude. "I will do whatever I can," she said. "I know Vorlag's weaknesses, his vulnerabilities. I can help you defeat him." Together, Alara and Lyra devised a plan to confront Vorlog. He was too powerful, too well guarded. They would have to use their knowledge of the Starstone and the amulet to exploit his weaknesses and turn his own power against him. With Lyra's help, Alara learned to harness the power of the amulet. She discovered that it could amplify her own magical abilities, allowing her to manipulate the elements, heal wounds, and even see into the future. She also learned how to use the amulet to counteract the Starstone's corrupting influence, protecting herself from its dark energy. Alara and Lyra left the citadel, venturing into the heart of Vorlog's empire, a land of desolation and despair. They traveled in disguise, avoiding patrols and evading detection. They gathered allies along the way, refugees and rebels who had suffered under Vorlog's tyranny. They reached Vorlog's fortress, a towering citadel of obsidian and steel, surrounded by a moat of fire. The fortress was heavily guarded, but Alara and Lyra managed to infiltrate its defenses, using their knowledge of its secret passages and hidden entrances. Vorlag was seated on his throne, surrounded by his obsidian guard, his eyes burning with malevolent power. A fierce battle ensued, the throne room erupting in a storm of magic and steel. Alara and Lyra fought valiantly, using their combined powers to challenge Vorlag's authority. The obsidian guard fell before them, their armor shattered, their bodies broken. But Vorlag was too powerful. He unleashed a barrage of dark magic, blasting Alara and Lyra across the room. They were battered and bruised, their strength waning. "You have fought well," he said, his voice dripping with sarcasm. "But your efforts are futile. I am invincible. I am destined to rule this world." Alara and Lyra exchanged a desperate glance. They knew that they were outmatched, but they refused to surrender. They had come too far, sacrificed too much. They had to find a way to defeat Vorlog, even if it meant sacrificing their own lives. Alara focused her mind, drawing upon the power of the amulet and the Starstone shard. She unleashed a wave of pure energy, Направляя его к Vorlog. The throne room shook, the walls cracked, and the very foundations of the fortress trembled. Vorlog screamed in agony, his body writhing in pain. The Starstone shard within him began to react to the amulet's energy, its dark power fighting against the light. Alara knew that she had to act quickly. She channeled all of her remaining energy into the amulet, focusing her will on destroying the Starstone shard within Vorlag. The amulet pulsed with an intense light, its energy surging through Alara's body, threatening to overwhelm her. The Starstone shard shattered, its dark energy dissipating into nothingness. Vorlag collapsed, his body lifeless, his reign of terror finally at an end. The fortress began to crumble, its foundations weakened by the energy surge. Ilara and Lyra escaped the collapsing fortress, fleeing into the night. The sun rose over a new dawn, casting its golden rays upon a world finally free from Vorlag's tyranny. Ilara and Lyra stood atop a hill, watching as the refugees and rebels emerged from the shadows, celebrating their newfound freedom. There would be challenges ahead, new threats to face. But she also knew that the world had been given a second chance, a chance to rebuild, to heal, to create a better future. She looked at Lyra, her eyes filled with gratitude. "Thank you, Lyra," she said. "You helped me save the world." Lyra smiled, her eyes filled with hope. "We saved the world, Ilara," she said, "together." Ilara took a deep breath, feeling the wind on her face, the sun on her skin. She was a survivor, a warrior, a beacon of hope in a world of darkness.